Hello, welcome again.
Howdy. How's everybody doing? You alright? I'm glad to see y'all here today to learn about the Photoshop.
I'm Nick, these are my tuts, and we are starting the lesson with the blur tool, which I don't imagine is going to require a great deal of explanation. Z, let's zoom in on my face. Hello there. So the blur tool, I mean, we'll go 20% strength up there, 20%. If I start blurring, I'm on the wrong layer. Remember, double click, okay, if it's locked. So I'm starting to blur my face. That's my face getting blurred. So that's at 20%, which isn't too much. But then if I go to 100%, you'll see the difference. Or 1%, 100. That's not working. 100. Jesus. Max. 100. Thank you. So 100%. That eye was at 20. This eye, gone. No, so that's the blur tool. It's the only time I really use this is sometimes around the edges of something I've cut out. I think it's too sharp, so I'll go around the edge and blur it a bit. Because the edges of anything that's cut out is the thing that gives it away. So you need to make your edges nice and smooth and blurred. So it looks a little better. Blur tool, done. Now, sharpen tool does the exact opposite to the blur tool. But if you try and sharpen a blur...
You've got the smudge tool selected, you jerk.
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. Jumping ahead. Sharpen. So if I'm going to sharpen something that I've just blurred, I'm just going to sharpen the blur. Look at that. So once you've blurred something, you ain't going to get it back.
That's not strictly true, you jerk. What he means is that if you blur a raster object, you cannot unblur. But if you make it a smart object, you can apply a filter on top and then edit it afterwards. This should be Tommy Tuts.
But if I lightly sharpen my chin, my lips, unedited, in fact it's easier over here, you can see it just basically edits the contrast slightly, but I'm on 100 strength, so it just makes an awful mess of things. Yes, it's sharp, but I don't really sharpen things. Occasionally I might sharpen an eye a little bit more before I sharpen the overall image, but I don't need to sharpen tool. Wow. Weird. So that's that. And then the smudge tool just smudges stuff. So perchance I'm an Instagram model and I feel that my hip is somewhat too chunky. Well, then what I would do is I'd smudge it over, you know? That's grand. Look at that. I haven't been eating the cake. I haven't touched the cake in over a day. Obviously, the smudge tool blurs things up. You do something Instagram models will know all about, liquefy, which is the way you would decrease one's hip ratio. But we ain't going to go into that. Don't need to. Right, smudge. Jabbly. Over here, dodge and burn. Now, this is very useful too. But another one, I mean, I've favoured filters now, filters and masks. I just find it easier than mucking about on the original image. If I can do it with it on its own layer, then I can turn it on and off. I'm actually going to just stop all this madness with my eyes and hair and the tree because, all right. So, dodge. What this will do is it will brighten specific areas of the image I would like to brighten. So in this instance, perhaps I want to brighten my cheeks just want a little bit more rose in them or something like that, you know. Up here, if I try to brighten my cheeks with highlights selected, it's not going to do a great deal. The highlights means it's going to pick the brightest colors, the lightest brightness pixels and brighten them some more. So if I brightened my eye in this with highlights selected, or if I start with my cheek, yeah, it kind of works, but it looks silly. Whereas if I brighten my eye, it well brightens up. It's not doing anything to the eyelids, but it is brightening. I mean, it is now because it's just gone mental. But it's easy to show you with midtones. So midtones is going to brighten my cheeks. It's not going to touch the shadows, and it's not going to touch the highlights, even if I go over them. Watch this. Ha, ha. So, see, look, not touching my eyeball. It ain't going to do anything down to the shadows. My nose will take a little bit of brightening, and we'll just get going down his cheek and all. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Oh, it's lovely. But it won't really touch the beard or anything down here. It just can't, because they're not midtones. If I went to shadows and wanted to brighten them, specifically this here or this here, because shadows is selected, it's going to pick the darkest pixels and go, that needs to be lighter. And so be it. It will lighten them. So it's brought up that. I can bring up the lower beard and just kind of make it not so dark. Brighten my cheek in the shadow. So it's picking the shadows as best it can and figuring out that you want to brighten those bits and not the highlights. I mean, it does a little bit, it always will, but it's just because I'm not being specific there. So that's the dodge and burn tool. And the sponge tool, let me just Command Alt Z, get rid of all that. The smudge tool will, oh, by the way, Command Shift Z goes forward, it redos. So if you Command Alt Z, Command Alt Z, Command Alt Z, and you think, oh no, I've gone too far, you Command Shift Z or Control Shift Z. All right, so back to the sponge tool, which just desaturates, basically takes the color out of something. So my cheeks, if I want to look like I've already died, then this is what that does. It just takes the color out of stuff. The more I do it, the more grey it becomes. I don't use this ever. Again, I do it with my layers, my filters over here, because there's more control. So, but that's what it does. Now we've done the sponge. We've still got 8 minutes. I think I can cover pen tool in 8 minutes. Command Alt Z, Command Alt Z, Command Alt Z, Command Alt Z. So the pen tool, right? What that's gonna do is it's one of them selection tools. So you just use it to cut stuff out. So up here, if I go zoom in, get me pen tool, which is shortcut P. If I use a mouse for this, because why not? So click once, and then wherever you click next, watch. If I click, and you click and hold, by the way, click, hold, and then I drag. It's called creating a path, and I'm following the contour of the hat. So if I let go, it keeps that line, and then the next point will follow on. So this line is going to follow on and assume that right now it's going to go up there. Unless I drag it down to here, it doesn't require much because it's already done it. But then, say for instance, I get to here and I want to go, there's no point me, because I'm going to have to curve this a little bit to follow the hat, mostly. But now I've got this problem that if I click here, I've got this stupid curve. No good. No good. Command Z. But, Command Z again. Command Alt Z. If I then click here and do the same thing, so I don't want this one. If I get the line where I want it, and then I hold Alt and then move this, I can now independently tell the next point where it's going to be coming from. So I let go of that, and then when I go again, it's taken that point. So here, it's all right to have it up there because I want a bit of a curve, like that. And then I can come down, like that. And then I've got to do that again. So I'm holding Alt, and then I'm bringing that point to accept. This is where I'm going. So if I just very quickly, da-di-da-di-da-di-da, Dee-da-dee-da, get me chin. That's my head. Oh, tiger. Don't lose your head. Don't lose your head. Labyrinth. Legend film. She said, take off your head. Take off your head. Friday. Friday. It's Danny John Jules, that. Cat from Red Dwarf. He was a singer. Alright, so there we go. Boom. Now, before I can do much with it, because at the moment it is a pure path, if I go down here and go to paths, there it is. So I can save it by going there, save path, give it a name. Okay. And there's my path. So even if this disappears, so if I press enter, it's gone. Gone. You can either command Z or there it is. So there's my path. So with the pen tool still selected, once you've closed your path, you've connected the last point to the first point. If you right click, you get these options. Most of the time, you're going to do that. Make selection. And then I don't need it feathered. I just want to cut that because I specifically chose where it should go. I don't need no feather. Don't ask me no feather. Man, don't need a feather. Press OK. And then our old friends, the marching ants, are back.
He did not explain something very important to you, which he damn well would have done if he wasn't a jerk. Now, with a pen tool, you can either draw a path and turn it into a selection, or you can draw a shape with editable fills and strokes. Now, if you wanted to trace over an image like this, if you drew with path selected, you could apply a stroke, or you could turn it into a path to use for selections later. Now, if you draw it directly as a shape, you can then have editable fills and strokes, like this. Fairly important information skipped over there by a jerk.
So now, with the shortcut V for the move tool, I can take off my... Oh, give it a rest. Because no layers are selected. Oh, right, double click, okay. I can move my head. It's gone. I've taken my head down. And I can put it back, but I can put it back too low. That's too low. Come on, D. Z. Alt. Z. Sorry. I'm amusing myself. But I'm going to leave it. Because I like it. What time are we on? Oh, Christ. 12 minutes. Where have I got to? Pen tool, text tool. There's going to be a tutorial. The next one I bet is just basically going to be about that, I think, because it's quite in depth. But all right, cool, wicked, nice one.
I cannot be here tomorrow.
How come?
I have a very important errand to run.
Fair dues.
But I will be back. I have a replacement lined up, and they have been informed.
Good stuff.
That you're a jerk. So long.